ashes burn in the stone, and night it's our turn.
All right, we finally got a coin flip win. Looks like Anakin won the die roll for initiative.
I think the CAD player is just hoping that, they remember to pack their no good to me deads. I think that's
that's another huge card.
Is it
really good
is there 3 main deck? That's the real question.
The interesting thing is I don't think CAD even needs 3 main deck, because you have so much. It kind of goes against your ping ability a little bit when you think about the fact that once you tap something, your opponent may just kind of have given it up for dead already. But no good to be dead is so good against anything that wants a big thing, whether it's Anakin trying to swing in for big damage, even if you just use it to on a triple dark rated unit so that it can't attack you that turn. There's a lot of good utility in no good to me dead that I think it's hard to keep out of any yellow villain list at the moment.
I haven't cut a deck in 2 years. Don't tell anybody. Don't.
Well, now I know whenever we play, I'm just gonna stack my deck and shuffle so that it stays stacked. I've got your number.
It's just you start doing. It's like becomes a thing. Like I don't want to stop this streak.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's just your thing now. And yes, we just got confirmation. This is DZ on Anakin versus Yodakiller on the CAD Red. So yeah, Yodakiller is a member of the Bothan competition team. He is a very, very skilled player. I don't know much about DZ, but he's obviously on a very good deck because I love Anakin. We saw a turn 1 Queel, but quickly answered by CAD Tarkentown. I think CAD is totally on board with just using his Tarkentown early, especially with a unit like Queel, who threatens so much card draw.
So what's the sequencing there? Like, can the Anakin player like just pass and just force the mercenary gunship to come down first so that they can safely play the Queel?
You can, but I think as CAD, you're okay with taking this long. So I think as CAD, if that happens, you just claim and let them miss their first turn. Oh, wow. Now there are 2 of them out of 4. So in this case, he probably wouldn't have done that if he has now there are 2 of them. Yeah, CAD starting exactly how it wants to start out. A clear board versus a 4-lom, and CAD is living the dream right now, I think.
Yeah, this is really rough. Yeah. I mean that's the kind of thing. Yeah.
I was just interesting to note that Anakin's running the Concord Dawn Interceptors main. I would imagine this is a nod to expecting a lot of the Django Red decks. Perilous Position coming in clutch again, stopping the 4-lom hit.
The pass thing is like it's something that you really got to think about for sure. Like when I was playing Boba Red Tarkentown in San Francisco over at the PQ, I mean I was cleaning up Sabines all day. The one guy that beat me did the pass, and it just kind of makes it a little bit more awkward. Definitely, when your whole game plan is centered around like swarming and controlling and such.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think just passing is heavily underutilized in this game. I think it's a really important tool that players need to know how to use and to use more than a lot of them do. I did not see what trick Carlos picked up off of his Jabba. So I'm not sure what so there's probably some known information that the Anakin player has that we do not, because I didn't see it.
I just don't see how we come back from this board state. It's gotten out of
It's
control.
really tough. If the CAD player has a Zuckus, then Anakin is really in trouble. A takedown there.
Oh.
So that makes the Zuckuss a little bit less intimidating, but all Anakin's doing here is just trying to answer one thing at a time, and still took 2 cards. Oh, he got Maclunky. Thank you, J Freak. Okay, so we know that there's a Maclunky in hand for the CAD player off of the Jabba. But all this removal is just getting held up for the Anakin flip turn because Anakin isn't able to develop a board. They're spending their whole time trying to answer CAD's board, which really just plays into what CAD wants to do.
Yeah, I wonder if what is it? DZ needs to kind of like rethink that turn one. It's really just lines up perfectly with the now there were 2 of them and into the Zuckuss and all that. It's just, what are we gonna try next time? What's the plan?
Yeah, I think especially when you consider now there are 2 of them, it makes the pass a lot more appealing because if they claim they're not gonna now there are 2 of them. I think Poe is a really good start. It's a big threat that the CAD player has to try to answer before Anakin deploy. It's answerable for sure, but I think it's a good start. You have to start asking questions rather than spending your whole turn trying to answer the CAD units.
I mean, he's got enough on board just to clean that guy up with his units.
He can, but if he just attacks Zuckuss and trades with Poe, then Anakin flip gets a lot more free. So I think that's what he's trying to. The nice thing is since CAD for CAD, since Poe got played this turn instead of last turn, he doesn't have to answer it right away. He can take his time and wait to see what the Anakin player is going to do next. Anakin's pretty much out of actions. It's either flip now or forever hold your peace, right? You're either running into this Zuckuss. This is a good example of where passing might be good. But I think CAD is still pretty far ahead on this board state. Oh, wow, that's huge. So playing the Hotshot Blaster with Smuggle so that Jabba can take out the Poe and he still has the Zuckuss up.
Yeah, we got so we played a Greedo, got a ping, and then we went gun kill, and we're just riding into the sunset.
Exactly,
baby.
yeah. And CAD leader, when deployed, pings for 2 instead of 1. So that plus the 4 damage from Jabba plus Blaster was enough to kill the Poe. So yeah, Anakin is in a lot of trouble here. We'll have to see what they can come up with. Note CAD is still holding up this Zuckuss. It doesn't kill Anakin right away because there's no Forlom, but it is still 6 damage into him. And he wouldn't die back. And yeah, Anakin just claims and doesn't flip. It's hard to overstate how good this Zuckuss is against Anakin because usually you want to try to hide behind Village Protectors or Obi-Wan, and he's just sitting there with Saboteur ready to be able to take him out regardless of the Sentinel play. Starting with so I think what happened was Anakin passed and CAD claimed. So CAD missed out on some damage to base, but made sure that the Anakin flip didn't happen that turn. So and now CAD wants to shoot first or something to that card.
Oh, that is savage.
Yeah, it's a good response though to get the Luke back. It's about the best Anakin could hope for, and because now CAD has to have something else to be able to clear this Luke. Let's see, CAD mulling over his options.
I'm live on YouTube.
Oh, interesting. Maclunkying the Jabba back to hand. So he loses the blaster, but he'll get another Jabba when played to try to find another trick and gets 5 damage on the Luke. So that lets him kill the Luke this turn pretty cleanly with the Greedo. And just replaying the Jabba. I'm gonna try to pay attention this time to see what he gets.
Get another shoot first and keep that Greedo up, baby.
Oh yeah. See a Ruthless Raider. I'm not seeing anything. Looks like he missed.
Bricked. Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah. So missed on the tricks, but still pretty far ahead here.
Just losing the Greedo.
Yeah, so Greedo into the Luke, Cad doing 4 to base. So no Zuckuss on the table that the Anakin player has to worry about, but still needs to find a way to catch up on board. This Cad leader is a 2/8 raid 2, so it's a pretty big beating and kind of hard to take off the board. So it looks like there's another Luke in hand for the Anakin player. Not the biggest deal when both of your opponent's units have 8 health. So maybe the Anakin player can hope to try to develop something on the board this turn, have it die next turn, and Luke then. That's a potential option.
Yeah, I think
We'll have to see what else they have.
I think kind of the better option is concede and see if there's a taco truck outside. I don't know, or you know what I mean. I mean there's some merit
to just taking
here.
it for game. Yeah, there's definitely some merit to just taking it to game 2. When you're both playing decks that aren't super fast. Forlom plus Zuckuss now. So the Forlom killed the Cassian. Oh, Zuckuss going to base. This tells you the Cad player thinks he's really far ahead. Oh, sorry, that's Jabba for 2. I don't know why I thought that was Zuckuss.
I think he's just pushing in.
So he's pushing in. The Poe is going to stay around, but this is a lot of health to go through.
This a waylayer? Is that what that is?
It might have been a no good to me dead.
Oh, okay, no good to me. Okay.
Yeah. So Poe not going to get to attack this turn either, which really that is lethal on board if the Anakin player doesn't have a Sentinel to throw in the way or a removal spell for this Forlom. We know there's a Luke that could come down, or there should be a Luke that could come down to kill the Forlom, but still obviously in a very rough spot for the Anakin player.
When I hit the mute button, I'm just not getting muted. That's what's going on.
It must be something, because I'm not hearing you in Discord when you do that, so it must be something about what's going to the stream, if I had to guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there must be like another mic.
Yeah.
Calling in.
And yeah, so Anakin player does go for the Luke to kill Forlom. So not dead on board right now, but still obviously in a very rough spot. Another hotshot blaster.
I see. I had a hot mic. Yeah, I found it. Yeah.
So now 4 health left on Anakin's base. Big decision here now. Do anything else or try to claim. Only 2 resources left, so not much that the Anakin player could do.
Yeah, no, I had another Yeti. That's like my backup mic that just happened to be on. I think it's resolved now.
Okay, so yeah, please keep letting us know in YouTube comments if you hear a hot mic. We think we fixed the issue. Anakin player going with a force throw to try to get lucky, but does not get lucky and is now dead to the Cad attack. So on to game 2. Really good showcase from this Cad deck of just what this deck wants to do as a whole, and I think a really good showcase of why it's different than the Django deck. A lot of players seem to think these decks were fairly equivalent, and should you run Cad, should you run Django? I think this was a huge example of why this is just a fundamentally different deck, even though it's in the same colors.
Yeah, I think that Django in particular really there's like a very narrow set of cards that need to be included in that.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's going to be more space heavy. It's going to be based around triple dark raid. It's going to be based around being aggressive and trying to stop your opponent from controlling or from clearing your board. And this Cad deck is much more just going to control the board and kill you in the long run. It's also really good use of both Forlom and Zuckuss, I think. Utilizing the extra pings, the value of them together. I think they weren't as heavily utilized in set 2 as a lot of players thought they were going to be when they were spoiled, because we ended up getting to like the Boba yellow decks that were more aggressive and didn't run as many copies of those specific cards. And I think this deck really showcases the power of both of those units together.
Yeah, I remember when those guys were first spoiled, everyone thought they were going to be in every single villain yellow deck. But yeah, like you said, we tried to pump in a little bit more with the Bobby yellow. But now, just the value of those guys makes sense to jam them in.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially with now there are 2 of them, because now the curve can be turn 1 play into turn 2 Zuckuss into turn 3 Forlom. With now there are 2 of them, and you just get this 5/5 ambusher, and you already have a 7/7 Saboteur sitting there. Like that specific play line, while it's unlikely to happen statistically, is just, it's such a beating to have your deck have that potential where you can just make that strong of a play that early.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit telegraphed, like I said, to where it's deck building that can solve it. There's also like just the decision points. I mean, can you, is going later really too big of an issue for you to kind of mess up their curve?
Yeah,
I mean, because the Anakin has late game answers. I mean,
absolutely.
there's the unit Anakin himself comes in and does stuff, the Lukes and things like that. So I mean,
Yeah, well, some of these decks are running Crate Dragons as top end. You can change, you can mess around with a number of Obis and Anakins. This deck can go late depending on how it's built. But yeah, I think we'll see if this goes the same way for the CAD player as Game 1 did, or what kind of post board answers Anakin may have to try to make the matchup a little better.
Yeah, I just don't think you can just set the quill down and just hope for the best. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think we maybe. CAD mulligans. Yeah, so I'm curious if we'll just see a pass out of Anakin to start.
Shielded, I think turn 1 shielded units we had talked about a little bit before, but if you can even just consider playing like a security complex to try to like prevent some of this kind of stuff too, could be there. So this is not what you. We
do not see the
a
pass,
problem
so...
here. We're seeing it's the same issue here. We've got the underworld unit down. We're killing that Sabine, and we're just, if we have the combo, we just win this game.
Yeah, it is an interesting thought though, that if the Anakin player had passed, they could just get the Sabine taken out of their hand. Not that would necessarily be the end of the world for them, but it's a tough one. I think trying to navigate this matchup as a whole is really tough for the Anakin player with all the variety of lines that CAD has.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you pass and they just play the guy, and then do you really have a way to like kill that guy right away to where they're just going to end up in the combo anyways? It's tricky.
Exactly.
It is very tricky for sure. Again, that's kind of where my mind went with Anakin, was shield base security complex to prevent that kind of situation from happening to you, and then or the yellow with the shield guys.
Yeah, so we see the Village Protectors, which we knew a couple of in hand. Punishing One, just honestly really good as a 3/4 space unit for 3 coming down. This deck doesn't play around much with the defeating an upgraded unit, but just playing it as a big space unit that can help make trades there has been really good from what I've seen from this CAD deck. Yeah. Now this Village Protector is set to die to either Bayesian attack or another CAD ping.
Yeah, this CAD's looking real smooth.
Yeah, just really firing on all cylinders, and really showcasing here that you have the now there are 2 of them for Lamzaka stuff, but you don't need it. You're still a good deck when it doesn't happen, and I think that's the key to making now there are 2 of them good. You need to have a functional deck when you don't draw the combo, and then an insane deck when you do. And that's what I think we're getting with this CAD red deck.
I'm leaning towards Tarkentown really being one of the kind of like the premier cards in this game. I mean, it's... I do feel like maybe set 1, it wasn't really kind of like... I just, over time, like just some of these You know,
Mhm.
it's seeing more
Absolutely.
use right now for sure, but it's just such a good card.
Yeah, and I think both the CAD and Django decks are showcasing why Tarkin Town can be so good. But both the decks based around doing small amounts of damage to get value, and then just when you have the right numbers line up, you just get to kill. In this case, just try to always kill a turn one play, or try to finish off that other unit. It just makes trading less efficient. I agree. I think Tarkin Town is going to be a big player in this whole set.
I think we're still in the early stages of our meta. I think that
Absolutely.
we're still in like the aggro mid-range part of this journey, and I think that eventually, once the threats kind of reveal themselves, then I think the control leader or the control decks will be ready to begin their attempt at.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I
Yeah.
think always the problem with control decks is you need to know what you have to answer, right? There's a huge variety of answers that we have everywhere, so you need to know what the questions are so that you can have the right answers. And I think pretty soon we're gonna get to the point where people know that. Really heads up play here. Another great thing from Cad Bane. So when you play Forlom, you get to choose the order of your when played abilities. So in this case, Yodakiller said, you have a shield, so I'm going to use CAD to make you ping the shield, then I'm going to ambush. So that lets this 4/4 unit kill a 2/2 shielded with just the ambush and the CAD trigger. So showcasing how sequencing can be really big and some of the other benefits of CAD. Takedown on the Forlom, but Forlom already did his job, so I think you're okay with that as the CAD player.
I feel like these village protectors in the last couple matches have just gotten just smoked. I don't know. I know a lot
Well,
of
I
people
think
are
that,
like
yeah,
very high on that card, like slam it every time, but I don't know. I'm not a
yeah, a village
huge village protector guy.
I think it depends on the deck. I like Village Protector a lot, specifically in Anakin, because of how the costs line up of 3 cost plus another 3 drop on your deploy turn. But specifically, this CAD deck is so good against Village Protectors, where you have a combination of Saboteur and CAD pings for the shield. That this is really a deck where Village Protectors does not shine. Um, and I think that we also saw it against Sabine with this Anakin deck, where Anakin was just behind the whole time, and the Village Protectors couldn't do enough to help him keep up. So I do think it has its place against a lot of decks, but we definitely have not seen it do well on stream so far as a card. Yeah, but we're on both leader deploy turns now, so interested to see where the players take it from here.
Yeah, DZ on Anakin here has had to kind of overpay a couple times for some mitigation, doing a
Yep.
takedown on a 2 health remaining unit and such.
Yeah, and doing a takedown on 6 resources is also awkward because it's a lot harder to spend the last 2 than it is to spend 3. So, Ian and Chad asking us correct. Yodakiller is on CAD red, and then we have DZ on Anakin blue. This is game 2 with CAD taking game 1. We see another Jabba coming in, probably looking for maybe a shoot first, maybe a Maclunky. Could be looking for a waylay. Looks like he whiffed again. So that's the second time we've seen him whiff on Jabba. But I think in general he's still okay with just getting a 2/8 underworld unit out.
There it is.
Has
There's
the
that
no good to
me.
be dead.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking
that-
I'm seeing Jabba getting a lot more play as well. I think the play line of like the Jabba find the now there are 2 of them into the CAD is maybe pushing that, and also is generally fairly good into discard type hand hate strategies just to have the extra card draw. So at the end stages of the Shadows meta, I started putting Jabba in my Boba red deck just because the weak matchup was actually into like Han 2 blue and things like that, like pillage you out and then you're just kind of hosed.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I think in set one, everyone saw Java and always said, "Man, when we get more and better tricks, this card's going to be really good." And I think we're at that point now in set three, where like you were talking about, a lot of the new tricks and the old tricks aren't bad, but you just get a higher density of them now. Along with the stuff, like now there are two of them where you can try to get you can get a lot more value out of this, and then just having a 2/8 body with things like the hot shot blaster, we saw that used to great effect last game. Um, that makes Java work a lot better.
Good old hot shot. All right, we've got still in poem math. We've got Cat up 3-2. Got three cards on versus 2.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Oh, CAD unit coming out. So, only getting to capture one unit with the Yoda. He can't capture leaders, but just having a 7/7 sitting out there is huge. Village Protectors looking a little bit better now, actually protecting Anakin at the moment.
Yeah, could we have dirtled there a little bit more? Maybe hit him with the punishing one and just kind of wait and see if another unit comes down before that CAD pops.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair, because if this CAD gets to capture the Village Protectors too, then that would have been even better. It's possible that Yodakiller on the CAD would contemplate taking initiative rather than swinging with the punishing one. So we might have just wanted to present an overwhelming board state and say you have to do something or I'm going to claim and hit you a lot.
I don't think this game's going to be tilted either way based on that decision point. It was just interesting to think, discuss why it kind of happened.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting to discuss, because it goes back to all the sequence and things that we had talked about, where those are really big in this game. Like what order do you want to do actions in? When do you want to basically soft pass to set up like a better CAD unit versus making your opponent have something to answer your what you're playing. And Noxum brings up a good point in chat that we were, I think, already there on tricks in set 2, which is what Poem was talking about, how he started using Java more at the end of set 2, and then Boba destroying CAD Tarkintown, and that's not something that we have to worry about anymore with Boba Leader being suspended. We talked, a lot of people talked at the time about what decks that freed up to potentially play, and I think this CAD Tarkintown deck is potentially one of the biggest benefactors of the Boba banning. You also get to add the set 3 cards like CAD unit. Now there are 2 of them, and then you don't have to worry about running into Boba anymore. So
a big mid-range vacuum that's trying to be filled at this time.
Yeah, and I think we have CAD Red, we have this Anakin deck. We've already seen multiple mid-range decks put up some decent results early. So yeah, there is a big vacuum, and we'll see what ends up filling it. There are a couple of front runners. I think this CAD deck is a big front runner to potentially fill the mid-range vacuum.
I tend to think, and it's like hard for me to shake it, that resource advantage, some type of resource cheating, ultimately has to just be the best deck. It's hard for me to kind of get away from that.
Yeah. I agree. That's why for me, any leader whose leader activation has a resource cost, that's a very big downside for me. I know some of those leaders have still put up good results, but even leaders like Rey or Luke, where you have to spend 1 to either put the shield or experience counter, I think those are working the opposite way of the way you want the game to function, of cheating on resources, like you were saying. And so when I see leaders like CAD or Anakin who don't have resource costs and still have powerful actions, or obviously we look at a leader like Boba who went the other way and gave you resources back, Han 1 and Han 2 who both cheat on resources. I agree. I think those are the big things from a game fundamental standpoint, to look at how you can break the resource curve as it was designed.
And even just simple, I mean, in addition to your leaders, certain types of upgrades, like your general's blades and whatever's, just things like that. I don't know, bring back the Alliance Dispatcher, shield that baby with Luke, and just can't get
Oh
killed
yeah,
Tarkin Town, and just push out a Kanan, start
yeah.
humming, just
Mhm.
like resources, fundamentally, or like where my mind goes in games like this. So
Yeah, absolutely. What's exciting for me is how many more ways we have to do that now. Um, in set one it was boba, and there weren't a ton of other ways to do it. But now with it, now there are two of them with both the Han leaders. There are a lot of ways to cheat resources, and here we're seeing Cad take out Anakin leader, and I think maybe Anakin is deciding if they want to rescue the unit to get 2 cards. Looks like they don't. Does that mean the Luke unit's probably coming? Yeah.
okay, we've got a Luke on the board. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a plus unit there, and a little bit of restore with Yoda. So this game not completely over. It kind of curious to see what Yodakiller has in hand on this big
Yeah, game's
resource
definitely not
turn.
over. Um, we'll see what the force throw is not very nice here.
Okay,
Getting looks like a cartel spacer. What is? I
that
can't
kind of
tell what
looks
that
like
was.
a
That was
kind of looks like
discarded.
a Greedo, honestly.
Oh, I
Sadly.
think you're right. Yeah, 100%. That's a Greedo. Yeah, one damage there.
Another
So Anakin has
captain.
a lot of health on his base left to play with. By this point in game one, Anakin was basically dead. Um, so he's got a lot more. It looks like a waylay on Luke. So Yodakiller buying some time there into Boba unit.
Yeah, still some unspent resources there for Yodakiller. I'm not counting Anakin out here.
Oh, definitely not. The health on Cad's units line up awkwardly into Yoda attacking for 4, so Cad's got that going for him. But we know there's a Luke in hand. We could see something like just Luke turn the Boba into an 0-3 and then Yoda can kill it. We could see Luke could just kill the punishing one. So there's still definitely some plays that for Anakin to make. I think Cad's gonna have to have something else big to close out this game. We'll have to see what that ends up being.
Yeah, I kind of like the just Luke kill punishing one. Just we'll see.
Yeah, just save the damage on your base, clear the arena that you're not in, and then you still have this Luke that they can't answer on board. Um, I think it could be a totally fair tactic to say I can just take 3 damage in space every turn with my restore unit, so I'm going to clear the ground. Maybe the Anakin player's thought is if my Luke lives, it's much better for me than killing the punishing one. So their thought is to try to make plays to make sure Luke survives. I think that's a fair line of thought to take as well.
Yeah, try to clear out the ground so Luke can just keep giving you that restore every round.
Exactly. You'll find something to deal with punishing one later.
Yeah. The
It,
issue
it
is
could
this.
be their
I
thought.
mean, this play. I mean, I kind of see that coming a mile away a little bit there, though. You hit into the Boba, and now he just cleans you up for free.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But now that turns Luke on, so Luke could also kill Jabba. Okay, so still killing the punishing one. But the Boba has already attacked, so you're much less likely to have your Luke die this turn. Another force throw.
Okay.
An interesting line to take could have been to use the Anakin ability on Yoda attacking into Boba, because if you're planning to play this force throw, then Boba would only have 1 health left instead of 3. So it could be a big... Okay, Yodakiller discarded a 4 cost, so it's all the same anyway. But it's an interesting thought of you're behind on damage, so is it worth the 2 damage to make sure that you kill this Boba unit? Is that another waylay on Luke?
Waylay, gotta pack your waylays these days, guys. I mean,
You do, but you've also got to pack your expensive units having on-plate abilities. So the Anakin player is still getting a lot of value out of these Lukes, even though they keep getting bounced. It's already the Lukes have already killed 2 units and is still sitting there in hand. So
Luke is so good. What
absolutely.
a card. I mean that card
Yeah.
is just absolutely crazy. Glad we got some excitement here in game 2.
Yeah, I'm glad Anakin's putting up a fight at least. We'll see how the matchup goes. It looks like we just saw another Jabba in Yodakiller's hand.
I think just these force throws are potentially causing some problems just from like a card availability standpoint.
Absolutely. I mean, you saw a Bosk just get pitched. Like that's a card that would be great to have into this Luke. To just to help clear it over a couple of actions. Orlam, so we're getting 5 damage into Luke. Jabba cannot kill the Luke because Jabba's been given -3/-3, but still, oh, he did no ambush, so just 1 damage into the Luke from the Forlom. So that might signify that a Zuckuss is coming. Bool is asking in chat, what is the matchup score? This is currently game 2. Cad Bane took game 1 in a rather convincing fashion. Game 2 is much closer. We're getting a much better game, where much more even game out of game 2 so far. Really interesting choice to not ambush the Forlom. To me, that means that maybe there's also a Zuckuss, and he wants to get the Zuckuss ambush in. But we'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think the math kind of works out.
Oh, so he plays a Sentinel, but that does not matter for the Zuckuss. The Zuckuss could still kill Luke if that's what's in hand. We do not know what's in hand. It could just be that he didn't want to lose his Forlom for no damage. Because without Zuckuss, this Obi-Wan is looking really good.
I think that Zuckuss would have come out.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree with Bull. Cad is a pretty tough matchup for Anakin in my testing as well. Carlos, the Cad player on stream right now, is on my team and has brutalized me with this Cad deck when I'm playing Anakin before. It can be, a lot of these Cad lines are really tough for Anakin to deal with. But Anakin's putting up a really good showing this game. He's the Anakin has done really well, even without getting big hits in with Anakin, which is usually the way this deck wants to win. Got a sneak attack off of the Jabba this time.
There was definitely some advantage early with the Cad. It seemed like some of the trades in the board state kind of, but as we turn the corner here, we're advantage seems to be Anakin, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Anakin stabilized really well. Force throws played a huge role in that. I would say there was a lot of Luke into force throw. Luke got waylaid. Luke into force throw lines that really helped Anakin stabilize, getting multiple wind blades off Luke. So the Cad player was able to not have the restore 3 happen from Luke, but the multiple wind blades and multiple force throws really have set Anakin up to be in a much better spot this game.
Yeah, not having any other way to just kill Luke and just having to bounce him every time is definitely not ideal.
Yeah. There's another Forlom. I'm imagine, putting the damage on Obi, and then the Cad player deciding if they want to ambush. Bool asking the game plan for each side. Anakin can go long. It really depends on the build. So some builds are running things like Crate Dragon, which help go long. Bravado to ready Luke. I like this a lot. Even without the crates, any deck that's running Luke unit has the ability to go long. It's just any kind of blue-red hero has a lot of tools to eventually go long. I think with Cad going long, the biggest additions are things like Cad Bane unit, because right now Cad Bane unit could clear both of those and make Luke have another answer. That's a very risky play because you could give them back the units with a rival's fall. So it's very tricky, I think, taking this matchup late. Ivan Ator saying they play 3 redemptions with Anakin. That's certainly another way to potentially take it late. Get to heal a bunch off of your base and have a big space unit. Yeah, the Cad player has to have something here. Maclunky to kill the Luke. That's huge. And then ping the Obi-Wan because Maclunky is an underworld card. So that's another one where you can take you can use action.
Crazy.
Equity.
That was so good. I mean, he doesn't get the card draw. I mean,
yeah,
that was
a huge Maclunky. Now you get to replay the Jabba, get the wind played again. So now it looks like Anakin needs something else again.
What a play. That was incredible.
Yeah, huge to not get the win defeated on Obi-Wan to get to draw another card. Looks like we see another Maclunky there.
I intend to rule with respect.
Yeah, huge play by Cad there. And it's also, it shows the punish of when Cad played the Forlom last turn. My first thought was you put the damage on Obi-Wan because that's a Sentinel that's going to die first. But when you're playing against this Cad deck, having any unit at 1 health left it can be a huge liability, and we saw it there. If Obi had one more HP, then it would have lived through both of those triggers. So it's a really interesting play line that I certainly would have played into the Maclunky as well. But it's just something to think about when you're trying to make these intricate plays.
Okay, so that damage if it had gone onto the Luke, we just don't, that whole line doesn't work. Or can he have done it opposite, like to where there was
well, if he had put the damage on the Luke, I think Luke and Obi both would have had 2 health left, which means either one would have still died to the Maclunky, but neither would have died to the Cad ping.
So I thought they were both at 5, so if we put the damage over there then on Luke, then he's at 6 and he's dying.
I think Luke was at 5 after the... You might be right. I could be misremembering the game state. But either way, it's interesting to think about how multiple turns later these Cad pings, like where you put them, can really matter, and what cards you're playing around.
We've redeveloped our board state here on the Anakin side.
Yeah. Yeah, Poe and more Lukes, and Anakin is they just keep asking questions. It's one of the things that I like about this deck, that this deck is just full of questions, and you, as the opponent, you have to have the right answers at the right time. And so far Cad has, but we're not done asking questions. Anakin's still saying, here, now I've got another Poe and another Luke. What answers do you still have? Correct. Anakin has already deployed and died, so it just doesn't have the X counter on it. See that question in chat from Mr. Jonathan Fisher. Yeah, so this is the last Luke. Either this is the last Luke, or we're gonna get a game loss for illegal deck building. One of the two. So last Luke that Yodakiller has to worry about.
We're coming up against a time constraint here, still in this long extended game 2 with only 16 minutes left in the round.
Yeah, we're at the point where if the Cad player thinks they're out of answers, it could be a strategic scoop. And I think that's what we're seeing here. I think he wants to make sure that there's enough time for game 3, because there's only 15 minutes left in the round, and neither of these decks are especially fast. Yeah, it looks like we see a scoop by the Cad player going into game 3 now.
Both players looking like they're shuffling as fast as they can. I see hands flying around.
Yeah, I think they both realize, like, no one wants to go to time here. Everyone wants to try to actually finish these matches out. And then Cad choosing to give Anakin the initiative. Both games so far, we've seen Anakin just play out a turn 1 unit that will die to Tarkin Town.
I just don't love it. I don't love it. Wait. I think you gotta just be like, pass and just see what's gonna happen. You know, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think the now there are 2 of them lines really exacerbated that line, because I think set 2 Cad would be kind of okay going into turn 2 with no one playing anything. But this set 3 Cad, where you're playing these now there are 2 of them lines, you really just have to play your turn 1 out at some point.
And we saw how, as the game extended, the Anakin was favored. I mean, just the healing, the card advantage, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think this Cad really needs to get the early to mid game advantage and try to hold on to it before all these Lukes come out. We'll have to see how it lines up in game 3. But it was a really intricate game 2. There were a lot of cool lines played there. Maclunky killing both Luke and Obi-Wan was really awesome from the Cad player.
A lot of people saying pass for sure. Anakin should not play a turn 1. Yeah, I mean, you really gotta I mean, we've been talking about it a lot, but it's happened both games. Just kind of like sitting that little,
Yeah.
bringing that little 2-3 out there and just
Yeah.
like shooting fish in a barrel.
It looks like they did pass this time. So playing differently already in game 2.
Okay. Is there another? Nope. Okay. No other turn 1. We're at least getting an attack off from our ship before we get Darkened Town.
Yeah, there could be a Maclunky, but then you're not getting, now there are 2 of them. Yeah, just three to base. So Restored Ark's getting in. Turn 1 did not get immediately killed. So this is already a much different game than we saw in the first 2 games.
Do we see a pass there?
We saw a Greedo attack into deploy Yoda. The Anakin player played Yoda, I would imagine, so that they could potentially kill any
Whoa.
ship with the
We
Restored
bricked.
Arc.
Looks like maybe we bricked 3 resource turn.
Yeah, no 3 resource play from CAD is not a great start.
That is not a good situation.
Yeah,
All right, nice
Forlom
little,
to kill the Yoda.
nice little kill there. Stays alive. The math lined up there on that, and the ping.
Yeah, and then
Into
also get
into
1 damage
Tarkin
into the
Town.
Restored Arc, so you get to Tarkin Town it.
Okay, all right, we're recovering. We're bouncing back.
Yeah, and then the Tarkin Town uses up an action, so you have the Greedo to potentially run into any 4 resource play that they try to make, or you could just attack with the Greedo now.
Oh, you love to see Greedo just hit off the top rope on whatever, maybe a Kanan or something that comes out.
Oh yeah,
Would just
exactly.
be-
Yeah, like yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Anakin not playing into that, sticking to the space arena. And now we see that, so that was excellent sequencing from Anakin to make sure that Greedo doesn't just get in the free trade onto Queel. Now they have to use their action this turn if they want to do that.
Queel, what a card. That guy is so good.
Oh, absolutely. I think Queel suffered earlier from a lot of decks not wanting to have a blue base. All the blue-red hero decks were like Luke and Rey, where you have the red base and you want the blue heavy cards. But that's one of the things I like about this Anakin deck and about mono blue Yoda, where Queel just really shines. Perilous Position to take out the Forlom is really big. Didn't get in that 4 damage with it, and makes Zuckuss not have ambush for the upcoming flip. That was a huge Perilous Position for the Anakin.
These guys are going lightning speed, man. It's just like
they're going
bam,
fast,
bam,
and
bam, bam.
Yeah, the damage is adding up. This game is already going to be a lot faster than before. We have 7 damage on the ground for CAD and 5 damage in space every turn for Anakin. So we're zooming.
Yeah, these guys, they are. It's quick action. So we might see some mistakes in that scenario when you're trying to just rush.
That's a really good point. A lot of times, in the faster you try to play, the more mistakes you make. But I at this rate of play, I would be surprised if this round goes to time, because I think they're both very conscious of that.
Yeah, they've gotten all the way into kind of the mid game with still 10 minutes left. So I think they're probably going to be okay. I think they still need to keep it up. They can't go in the tank.
Yeah. And this is one where Maclunky would be huge here to just completely clear the space arena between the Bosk ping and the 3 damage. But he might be Carlos might be trying to save something for the Anakin flip, so you probably can't afford to spend all your resources clearing space right now. Oh, playing a Bazine.
Is that?
The hand is 2 Jedi lightsabers, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Yodakiller leaving up 2 resources, so ready for the potential no good to me dead. I would imagine if you're Anakin, you just have to flip into this anyway. But DZ going 3 to base first, because it's also the CAD flip turn, so there's a lot of potential damage ready ready for this Anakin when he tries to flip. Because also with the boss scout, anything like a shoot first is going to let Anakin die in one action to Cad attacking for 5 and then boss pinging for 2. So we know the one card left in Anakin's hand is a Jedi lightsaber. They drew Yoda off the Bazine and played that. Yodakiller with a lot of cards in hand. We don't know what they are. It looks like it was a pass and claim, so no Anakin deploy and a bunch of damage left on base for a bunch of damage left unattacked for Yodakiller. Ironically enough, Yodakiller choosing not to kill the Yoda.
That's like the C3PO has to. What was it? He has to say 3 every time. Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
he's not named C2PO. You know. Oh, CAD unit. So that gets
Ooh,
everything.
okay.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, CAD unit cleans up the entire board. So Anakin still could deploy.
Cad's exhausted.
Out of resources now for Yodakiller, so it's a
Okay.
clearer deploy. Oh wow,
Yeah.
looks like a rival's fall to immediately get the units back.
I confused the two Cads. Rivals fall. I don't know. You gotta pack your like vanquishes and rivals falls and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, they're
Oh, absolutely.
those are just you gotta
I
have
think
them in
Rivals
there.
Fall is another one. Yeah, we had talked about Tarkentown being big this set. I think Rivals Fall is another one. That there are just so many must kill units around right now. Worth noting that because of that, unable to play the Jedi lightsaber on Anakin, so it's going to be able to be cleaned up by all these units. But that's a lot of trading to do when you're already behind on damage. Already at 13 damage and only on a target down, so it's only 12 health left for Yodakiller here, and he's staring down 5 in space every turn, even after he kills Anakin. So it looks like Anakin has decided to enter race mode, which I can't say I disagree with given the current board state.
I'm really liking this
Now
Anakin
killing
build.
the Yoda.
I'm liking the threats that you can put down. Like there's just good red cards. Like
Yeah.
just the way
Looks
this guy's
like
got
they're-
it built too. It's aggressive. It's getting in there, but there's
Yeah.
also the mitigation to deal with threats as they come through. It's pretty solid
Looks
stuff.
like DZ did not draw their card off of the Yoda death.
Yeah.
Unless I missed it. So that might end up mattering. They're pretty low on cards in hand.
That does matter for sure. That is an
I
important.
think it matters a lot in this particular state. But that I think a lot of that goes back to both of these players are trying to play very quickly. No one wants to draw. No one's trying to go to time. You saw how quick they were acting after Anakin claimed. There was a lot of just, I'm going to do all this damage. So I think we can probably chalk it up to that.
Yeah, these guys are still going lightning speed.
Yeah, which you have to do. It's one of this time limit can be really restricting in some of these intricate matchups. So yeah, they're both trying to just rush through this game 3 and get there.
Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah. So it looks like 23 damage on Yodakiller's base.
Just
He's not
hoping-
immediately claiming, so it makes it seem like he has something.
Yeah, we'll see what he drew off of that Bazine draw.
Yeah.
Losing a Poe gets a takedown.
Oh,
cleans up
takedown.
Cad.
So that means no CAD trigger. So the McClunky play to kill 2 things no longer works with CAD defeated.
Waylay. And
Waylay on the A-Wing, but it looks like there's enough resources to replay that.
Yep. I don't know if the Waylay is good value there because we know how few cards are in hand.
Yeah.
One second.
4 minutes left in the round, going into another key turn here. There is the McClunky, but after the Waylay, there's not enough damage to kill both units. So that is a fist bump